before the day gets started here, let me just go ahead and answer this. And I am just literally as appalled as my brother and friend Jason Four about why the people who listen to me, the people who are my subscribers, I'm surprised that they would even present this question to me. But before I go off into the question, let me explain something just about life in general. Listen to me very closely, all right? Life in general, basically, these are our needs. Number one is to put food in our mouth. And then number two is to have shelter. Now, people may differ about what kind of food you should put in your mouth, as well as what kind of shelter you should live in. Now, everything else is just amenities. Yeah, really, it's just a fact, because the truth is, the rich and the poor, they pretty much all have the same thing. It's just the difference in luxuries. Are you following me? And so everything that you do, all the labor of your hands, no matter what it may be, is towards putting food in your mouth for you and your loved ones and keeping a roof over your head. Now, you may like a fancy roof as opposed to a simple roof, but that's what it's all about. And the system is designed and it is set up to actually get everything that you have at the end of this thing. Now, that's the reason why we have to use wise ways to protect ourselves and what we've worked for all of our life. You know, let's just look at a definition of a fool coming from this perspective and viewpoint. Suppose that you work all your life, all right, and you pay 30 years on a house, and some people paying $1,500, $2,000 a month on a house or an apartment. And let me just stick with house, okay? And at the end of that 30 years, you've got a 401k, okay? Let's say you become gravely ill and sick, because the system is set up for you to become gravely ill and sick. Look at the food sources. Look at our food sources and stuff. And so if you don't do like I have suggested, now, hey, you want to be content and continue to keep going to the supermarkets and trusting in those sources and living the way you live, I have no problem with you whatsoever at all. You have choices and decisions to make in your life, and they're basically all up to you, every single one of them. But myself personally, I just assume, and my life is showing me that all my assumptions, which has now become fact, has been proven right. Because we don't have anybody that live in our little small community, as well as that attend our assembly, that are on prescription drugs. And we have people ranging from 84 years old all the way down to 7 weeks old. And it's just utterly amazing. So that in itself is letting me know that the decisions and choices that we have made in life is right. Really. And I thank the Most High for that. But the system is designed and set up to take everything from you. Inheritance tax used to be 5% of whatever wealth you may have stored or amassed. Now the government wants 40% of it. So what can you do? Well, I talk to people on the side and tell them what they can do to preserve themselves, because I'm telling you, it's a shame when you've worked all these years with these hands to leave something behind for your descendants or the people who are in the faith with you, only to have it taken away from you, and then they have to struggle, fight, bite, and claw to keep what you yourself have left them and given. It's a shame. It is utterly a shame. Well, the system is designed to make sure that you end up sick, and when you get sick, they're going to go after your assets, and they call a house an asset. I personally call a home a liability, but they call it an asset. I have my different opinions and viewpoints. And they're going to go after anything of value. And when it's all said and done, by the time you get finished, in their hospitals, and they've done sucked your 401k, your retirement, and your home and your assets, you've got nothing left but maybe pennies on it, a few $1,000s left over from some dismal life insurance for your family to bury you, and off you gone. What a wasted life that was. So you worked all these years, and you lived life to what you call the fullest. And you ended up sick, disease-ridden, cancer-stricken, or either you're in some nursing home and you don't know who you are and you don't know who the creator is. I mean, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. And your memory and your mind is failing you. You found out that the people who so-called love you, they really truly don't love you at all. They only love what you can do for them, or what you can leave them, also that they can pillage everything that you worked for all your life. Now, I said all that to get to this point right now. I don't give investment advice. When you see Pastor Dow making videos out here, they're for one reason alone. That is to encourage you. That is also to give you another way and a perspective to looking at how you can live alternatively for what this system has put into your conscious and mind. See, they have shaped, formed, and framed your mind to process and think a certain way. And most of us, like I said before, we are so deceived, especially when we think that we're thinking after our own volition and thoughts. It's just utterly chaotically insane. So I present alternatives, things that are going to help people's life to be less stressful. You'll live more free. But it will cost you. It's going to cost you your conveniences. It's going to cost you your attitude. It's going to cost you your way of life. And the things you have to put down is selfishness, rebellion, self-will, wickedness, defiled, raunchy, nasty spirit. You know, all that stuff like that leads to a bad life in the first place anyway. But I said all that, and I'm going to say it again like I've said before. I can't believe that my subscribers can fall for such a thing as Bitcoin. I remember a few years ago, Da Vinci and I had a few emails going back and forth over this, and I just couldn't believe, because, you know, to me, at least in the silver area, I believe he's a man of intelligence. He's very informed. He knows what he's doing. So when he went for this Bitcoin thing, I just couldn't see it. I didn't judge him on it, because everybody has a right to either make successes or have successes or failures in his life. But you're going to see by the choices and the decisions that you make in your life whether you are a success or a failure in any decision that you have chosen yourself. Now, but Bitcoin follows the same fundamentals as its fiat currency system again, and I can't understand for the life of me, why is it so hard for us to just hold on to tangible assets? I mean, even the Bible, the best-selling book that there has ever been in the history of mankind, only talks about gold and silver. And even history, if you want to just do away with the Bible and just go with history, it has a 6,000-year history. It's amazing how in those Egyptian tombs over there in Mizraim that they didn't find Federal Reserve notes or any fiat currency of any kind whatsoever at all from any so-called sovereign nation. They only found gold and silver. That's how people used to deal. To try to convince people that what we're dealing with is a paper fiat Ponzi currency scheme is something else. Now, what are we watching now? Well, we're watching all the electronic, all the paper, and all this other mess. It's all, the house of cards is coming down. All hypocrisy and all liars. It's all coming down. But you know what stays the same? That which is real. That stays the same. And it would behoove you to listen to wise counsel. That's a behooving now. Now, hey, you can choose on the economic front to either receive or reject what I'm saying. That's between you and your person, your family, and the Most High. Has nothing to do with me. All I do is present the information to you. That's all I do. You can choose to believe me on the faith front, or you can choose to not believe me. That's up to you. There's no need in being contentious, no need in arguing and fighting. I'm not a contentious man, really. I don't argue and fight with folks unless I get people who want to attack me for no reason at all. And even at that, I try to consider the source. Every once in a while, I may throw the dogs a bone, but then after that, I'm done with them, because, you know, you have to consider the source. And a lot of times the sources they're not even people to even consider in the first place. So consider the source when you're dealing with folks. But hey, I hope that you make sound choices and decisions in your life. And the reason why myself and Jason and Ford get on here and give you videos like this, we don't want to see you fall into the same old trap. Bitcoin is an electronic money. That's all it is. Sure, you may get some gains and stuff. You may just like with dollars, T-bills, CDs, bonds, stocks, mutual funds, IRAs, 401ks. I mean, you may make some type of profits in it, but it's all coming down. All across the board in this country, mostly among the European nations, the paper fiat Ponzi scheme is coming down. All central banks are amassing and stashing extraordinary amounts of wealth by storing, look at this, gold and silver, including the billionaires. But it's in their best interest to keep you, the people, deceived, because they want you to continue to keep making deposits. You know, the deposits is what keep the banking system going. And they want to do everything they can, even if it means to coerce, manipulate, and deceive your mind, to continue to have you to trust in that system, because after all, they make all their money and all their wealth off of you. You know, the reason why we're getting so much regulations in this country today against people selling goat milk or growing their own food, or even having what you call an organic farm outside of the system and stuff, is because the system, corporations, do not like the competition. They don't like it. They don't like it whatsoever at all. And you know, I found the best investment, and no matter what I've done in life, I found the best investment, and I know many of you cannot understand this, because you follow the concept, you know, it's better to have it in my hand than to have somebody to hope for or something like this. But I'm telling you by virtual experience, the best investment that there is in life is giving. It's just like gravity, the law of giving. It's a law, just like sowing and reaping. But the law of giving is just that. And most of you, because of suspicion, distrust, mistrust, whatever you conjure up in your mind and stuff, you hold what you got right here in your hand, and you better keep it, and you better secure it very tightly, because one day you're going to be dependent on somebody to open up their hand and give you what they got. And because of sowing and reaping is a spiritual law, you ain't getting nothing.